griefing? One of the most popular activities and most controversial topics of Yeeps hide and seek. Some people think you can get banned for doing it in play mode. Some people think you can get away for doing it in creative mode. But who's right? Today, I'm gonna clear up everything on this topic, and hopefully you guys will learn a bit more on the rules of griefing of Yeeps hide and seek. First of all, what is griefing? Well, griefing can have many types of meanings depending on the game you're playing. For example, in Gorilla Tag, a griefer is a term used to describe someone who interrupts a minigame by breaking one of its rules. Griefing in Yeeps, however, is simply just the destruction of blocks. Now that we got that down, let's pass on to what happens if you grief in play mode. Now, when I say play mode, I usually refer to maps that give you either no outline or an outline of any color excluding green. But what could happen if you were to grief in a lobby like this one? Well, griefing in play mode is actually allowed. So, a player could go and destroy this entire castle right here in play mode and not get punished. However, doing this can lead to something that is a bannable offense. Let me explain. Imagine someone is building a skybase in Blue House, and out of nowhere, someone comes and griefs the entire thing. At this point, no action would be taken against the football helmet, as play mode griefing is allowed initially. However, what would happen if the noodle hat asked them to stop? Would they get punished if they continued? Well, continuing to perform an action upon being asked to stop violates one of our other guidelines, called bullying/harassment. What does this mean, you may ask? Well, we take action against players who continue to perform certain actions even after they have been asked to stop. This includes hitting people with bats, confetti cannons, and other stuff. Back to our illustration, if the football helmet were to ignore the request of the other user and continue to grief their skybase, it could qualify as harassment. When someone asks you to stop, please stop. Now that's covered, let's explore the most popular way of griefing. What I'm about to explain in this segment of the video applies to creative mode lobbies. You'll know if you're in a creative mode lobby if you have a green highlight. Now, let's say you were building something and someone out of nowhere came and destroyed your entire build. Would action be taken against the player? And the answer to that is yes. Malicious destruction in creative mode is a punishable offense. Many people may wonder though, what's the difference between griefing in play mode, which isn't bannable, and griefing in creative mode, which is? Well, building is in fact the focus of creative mode, and griefing discourages that. People join Wilds lobbies just so they can build or paste cool maps, and griefers kind of ruin the fun sometimes. But is there a way that you can grief in creative mode without getting punished? Yes, there is. Let me show you a few builds that you can grief. Number 1, inappropriate builds. Any builds that violate our guidelines, for example, genitalia or a swastika, is allowed to be griefed. It's also encouraged that you report the player before you kick them or lose them or anything. Step number 2 are lag machines. However, this one is a bit more difficult to understand than the previous one. Let me show you why. Some builds can lag your game. However, lagging other people may not always be the intention of the builder. For example, a build with a lot of detail and a lot of blocks could make your headset start to lag. However, making your headset lag was most likely not the intention of the builder. In that case, you're not allowed to grief the map. One thing you can do about this though is clearing the map. If many other people in the lobby are experiencing lag, it's most likely that they'll accept the vote. Well, I hope this video helped you. I noticed that griefing is a very controversial topic, and that's why I want to make a video about it. If you have any questions concerning rules, please feel free to drop one down in the comments.